like to do away with it, but if you want to wait till the following meeting.
Okay. Good evening. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting of Tuesday, September 24th. My name is Scott Bugby. Our colleague Rob Garrity, our chairman, will not be joining us tonight, so we'll probably have a short meeting with no votes taken. To my left is the clerk, Jim Lehan, and to his left is our town administrator, Jack Hathaway, and to his left is our executive assistant, Marion Harrington. I must also advise everyone that this meeting will be audio and videotaped. Jack, can you read our agenda for tonight?
I'd be happy to. As you said, a very short agenda. We have action items. Please consider voting the open discussion period for the public comment. Wow. Please consider voting the open discussion for the public comment period for the water and solid waste rates. Discussion items including the MIA Veterans Memorial, naming of Gumps Park, town meeting status, update of affordable housing at the horse farm at Pulte being undertaken by Pulte. Acceptance, actually, that's it. No acceptance of minutes.
Thank you, Jack. That was easy. Okay, do I have a motion then to open the discussion for public comment for the water and solid waste rates?
Yes, so moved.
Seconded. We're open. I have no
In
comments.
favor?
Oh, sorry, all in favor?
Aye,
Aye. Okay,
we're good to go.
good to go.
All right, so that's a 120-day period by our home rule legislation, and that your comments will be welcome until January 22nd. Of course, we take comments all year round, but as far as the public period goes, we'll take them until January 22nd of 2014. All right. We had, for discussion items, we had, I guess I just wanted to follow up on and Marion actually had another conversation with the representative, but the MIA Veterans Memorial, you had a presentation on the meeting that I wasn't here. And I guess we had, since then, the Millis AmVets wanted to donate a chair for our town hall and make a presentation for that, on that chair. So we can get that done for Veterans Day, right? Is that what that loosely translates to? So I assume you would love to accept that gift from the Millis
Absolutely,
veterans?
yes. We could let them know.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I think it would be great to do the chair for Town Hall. For folks at home that may not have seen that, this is for our veterans who are missing in action. A number of towns, as well as Gillette Stadium, Fenway Park, have an empty seat, if you will, in the stadium to represent the fact that some of our soldiers have not returned. And we wanted to do that here in Town Hall, but we also wanted to do it on Town Hill. So I would gratefully accept the wonderful donation from Millis for the chair for Town Hall, but I'd also, maybe for the spring, like to pursue something on Town Hill as well.
Okay. I can,
Yeah, no, it's a great idea.
look to see which, I had Julie look in the other day, but I need to just follow up with her to find out what kind of funds we have available. We maybe have some money in some gift funds and,
We could even do some raising of funds if
Yep,
we had
that
to.
would
It's
be
a very
great.
worthwhile cause.
absolutely. It's, I'm sorry I missed that presentation. It's,
Marion, are you going to notify Mr. Fagan that we gratefully accept and we'll plan Mr. Chairman, plan a ceremony?
Ceremony on Veterans Day.
That'd be great.
The second item that, under discussion was just the naming of Gumps Park. I know Mr. Lehan's been involved in that, or at least in the Gumps Park itself. And I know per the town meeting vote, it ultimately falls back into the selectmen's hands, kind of the ownership of that park. And so I think we need to decide what process we want to go through and to name that park, or
Didn't we talk about having the kids maybe at the school suggest names for like
Well, I think what we said was that we'd come up with 3 or 4 alternatives.
right, and
And
put
then
it to
let
the
the kids vote on
students.
them, but I've had a lot of feedback from, not a lot, but a reasonable amount of feedback from folks that aren't crazy about that idea. First, it's not really intended for that age group. It's really preschool.
Preschool,
that
right.
the park is intended for. So maybe we should just bite the bullet and come up with a name.
yeah. Or we could open up to all residents to come up with suggestions. I don't know if.
Yeah, that's okay.
That'd be great. I mean, if we can
Wanna
do
do
that.
that?
You know, if people have suggestions, they can email them to Marion or,
Yeah.
Sure. We'll get
contact
something
us.
into the Norfolk Rentham paper and maybe even the Sun Chronicle and,
I know
Let's
they're
put some
anxious to
good
get a
ideas.
name to it, so
yeah,
could we put it on the agenda for the next meeting? And
we will get that out as quickly as possible.
so
And-
2 weeks, we should make a decision.
And so we'll just say something briefly like the selectmen are looking for suggestions for Gump's Farm, the new
naming
park
of the
at
new
the former Gump's Farm, and we'll go from there.
we should probably give a date, you know, when they should have them by too, right? Just, otherwise,
We should, I know that CPC is anxious to get a
Right.
decision, so we have a meeting in 2 weeks. My guess is it'll be a little bit more full of full agenda, but we ought to get that on there and make a decision.
We'll try and get him in maybe
So
2
just
weeks.
email any of us, for those of you watching at home, if you have any thoughts on what to name it. Some of the suggestions have been, Gumps Park, Rockwood Recreation Center, Norfolk
Community
Recreation
Park.
Center. The kids' place, the playground itself, will have its own identity. So
Yep.
we're really just naming the park itself. Any thoughts are welcome.
I'll have to talk to the, okay. We've had a couple of informal discussions amongst department heads and amongst you folks and myself, and about town meeting status, and looking at the length of the warrant. I guess it's just comes up for natural discussion whether or not we should hold the fall town meeting. We're not required to by law. There are a few items that certainly I got a suggestion. So, a suggestion came in for the park. Just
Great.
on my phone. You're not going to like it. So I guess I just wanted to throw it out for discussion. It does cost us somewhere in the $3,000 to $5,000 range to run the fall town meeting. It doesn't look like there's anything on here that, unless I'm missing something, but it doesn't look like there's anything in here that is
Well, look-
critical for the winter. Couldn't wait for the spring.
I mean, looking at the warrant, I don't know how CPC has 2 articles, one for 46,000, I guess, and another for 12. I think the one for 12 can clearly wait because they can't do the work until the spring anyway. But the other is for the purchasing of a conservation restriction on 4.3 acres on the Gray property on Marshall Street.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how critical that is. What about the constable?
yeah, I was gonna say
Does
that.
that have to be done in the fall?
Well,
Is it
if
with
we
the
want
tag
to
election,
change the term for the spring election, we would have to do it before the election, which we would not be able to do at the Springtown meeting.
But don't we have to do that?
Can we check?
No, I don't think so. I think we could go, if we could go back to the way, the argument was made, and if we don't make this change, we're gonna go back to our old format and having so now we'd be finishing Mr. Bremlis's
So
term.
this is just a stagger.
Yeah,
So if we do nothing, then we have another election in May.
for 2
For
3-year
2
terms.
positions.
Yep. And it would be the full terms as if, we'd be back on the cycle that we were on.
Okay, so that's not critical,
No,
Yeah.
unless you want to stagger them, but I don't,
which is
really,
isn't a
it's not
big
worth
deal.
$5,000 to me, but.
And the easement's no big deal. We don't need that. What about Patriots' Day? That's nothing. That can't wait.
Nope.
Capital can wait. So really, the only thing is
CPC question, if that's gonna hold them up, right? I mean, if they
Yeah,
need to do a
the
purchase
only
and
thing I
sale,
can see
don't
that we
know.
need to
It's not a purchase and
at
sale.
least ask. I mean, I'd hate to spend $4,000 for that one article,
For either the
the CPC article,
Marshall Street one or the other
Right.
one?
Yeah,
which I hate to tell you, I mean, that's an article I do not support. I mean, not that, I mean, I'm just one vote, but I don't know. I mean, to me, to spend $46,000 for parking for property we don't even own makes no sense. I mean, I would rather defer that till the spring.
Yeah, it's a lot of money for parking.
There's nothing on here that can't wait.
No, I mean, we had I think the driving force for me originally was the Southwood property, any zoning changes, and
Which isn't going to happen.
that hasn't, that's
Right.
struggling.
And we don't have any significant transfers. We don't have
No.
any snow and ice deficit.
Nope.
So the issues that we normally have to kind of clean up, we don't have.
No, you're right, snow and ice is all set.
Right. And if something happens between now, I mean, we always have the privilege under our bylaw to call a meeting if there's an urgent need to do so. We did that in January once before, when the state took some money back from us. We had to make mid-season cuts.
That won't happen again.
No.
Thanks.
There's absolutely nothing on here that can't wait.
All right, so we just had it as a discussion item, so maybe at the next, I mean, we should we can, if it's okay with you guys, I'll circle around with CPC and just double check with
Yeah.
them and,
We'll put it
Yeah,
for
and
vote
I
next
wouldn't
time
want
at
to take a
Rose.
vote on that without Mr. Garrity having
No.
a say in it as well. But I see no reason to spend $4,000 for. Am I missing something, Jay? I mean, I see
No,
I see nothing there.
I think,
There's no unpaid bills, right?
nope. Street continues.
There's nothing. The historical, that can wait. That's nothing. Walker Road, that can wait. And we don't traditionally reserve the 10% for affordable housing until the spring meeting anyway.
Yeah,
So I don't even know why that's on there. And I understand that we did get the $228,000 deposited in the bank?
200, I think it came out after they recalculated all their calculations, 225,000.
So they shorted us $3,000.
Yes, although I think it's based on the average number of beds that were filled, et cetera, so,
You didn't send the check back, did you?
no, I kept it.
Okay.
Just ask for 3,000
And it's
later.
in, so,
And it didn't bounce?
didn't bounce.
Okay.
So, and we're still hoping for another check this December, but that,
Well, and that would actually, see, now, to me, that would make sense. If we get that check in December, and then we can get the capital outlay committee together, we know exactly what we've got in the pot, which would be pretty meaningful, a little
Yeah.
bit of luck. We could make a real dent in the capital for the fall, spring, I mean.
and I'd like to, we talked about this a little bit last time, I'd really like to have a fresh look at all the capital, and my, particular concerns are the DPW vehicles and equipment. And I know Mr. McGee has talked about trying to transition away from a contractor who's been cutting the grass and having his guys do it. He would need to have some equipment in order to do that. But on top of that, we've got have a real thorough look at the trucks they have. They have those big, the big snowplow trucks that those babies, most of them are, some are from the 80s, some of them are from the early 90s. They need, Paul Vito's really been, putting them together, patching them together. So that would be good to get a real thorough look at the capital outlay and meet with the committee and go through that with a real fine tooth comb.
Well, what do you think?
I think that's fine. I think, yeah, circle the CPC and we'll put this town meeting
Put it
for
for
vote next
put it for-
meeting.
Okay.
I did receive a note from, and I don't know if you guys had any more information on this than I did, but the affordable housing, the kind of the horse farm update. I know there was an issue, and Chief Bushnell met with, there's the barn at Paddocks and Corrals, which is part of the whole Pulte subdivision, and there was an issue with the road that goes to the barn. And Chief Bushnell has met with representatives from Pulte, and they've worked out, along with Rentham, they've worked out to make sure that we have good temporary access, clean temporary access, I guess we should say, during the different construction phases. So I think that's why that item was on there, but.
Yeah, I asked to put it on when it was an issue.
Yeah.
It's now no longer an issue,
Yeah,
so,
so that was good. Good help.
which is good news. Nice
was
to
good
be able to
news.
say it's no longer an issue.
It is no longer an issue. The only other update I had was just, I know Mr. Bragdon got email late today too that I got, and I haven't had time to digest the whole thing, but we did get an update from the Southwood folks.
Yeah, I read that.
And-
all
read
did
that as well.
Yeah, that was great news.
and,
Good progress.
So they're making a lot of progress on all those things, and,
Are you guys meeting later in the week?
no, I don't think so. I think they're
No,
just
she
gonna
just
keep
gives
us
that-
updated,
yeah.
and they're.
Because I know originally they were looking for another meeting this week.
No, they're just gonna have they're using Chief Bushnell as the primary contact, and I'm the backup. So as long as we keep moving forward, we're happy, and we're just, we're looking to make that site safe for, unfortunately, any trespassers. Obviously, our focus is to keep the trespassers out and make it safe for the public safety folks if they should have to go in there. And the Archdiocese and the rest of the Southwood folks have been great to work with us, making some improvements there. So it's been good.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah,
I just had one item. Jack and I met with some folks regarding the, what's known as the airport property. I guess that's the best way to describe it. And they have an interesting proposal that involves some contributions from outside sources to be able to purchase this property. We're not the decision-making body, but they just wanted to bounce it off of a member of the board, so Jack and I met with them this morning. Remember, we talked about
Yep.
this, so you guys kind of
I saw the presentation.
threw me in that direction. It was a very interesting presentation. We urged them to go to CPC and present their issues. I don't know that I can share a whole lot more than that at this point until they go to CPC, but it's different. It's a different approach that involves some matching contributions that would make the town's contribution significantly less than was originally proposed. So we'll see where it goes. It was just a preliminary, informative meeting. No judgments or opinions were shared, just
And
providing
they haven't
some
met with the
direction.
CPC yet, or they have?
They have not.
Okay.
They have not. They were looking for some direction.
Yep.
So we gave them our best shot. And I'm sure that they'll call Cindy and arrange to get on the agenda and share their thoughts. It's certainly, I mean, we shouldn't say no to any opportunity or consideration, and we'll see where it goes.
Okay.
It's about 100, how many acres is that?
That was like 80.
The whole thing? Oh, it's over 100.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's 100 because there's
Yeah.
6 or 7 different parcels that,
Right.
a couple little ones that
It's a big chunk of land
the owner wants to sell.
with potential multiple uses, so we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, and I did talk to Phil McNulty, the town water superintendent, today, and he's already looked at it, but he's going to take a fresh look at it, and also talk to Steve Olson, our water engineer, just at what this could mean, as a water source. There certainly are challenges as we talked about today, with that whole area with the Franklin Wells and Kingsbury Lake and all that. The professionals are gonna look at that and give us an opinion as to what any potential that would be for a source or a backup source for us. That would be very helpful. So it's certainly enough land to do it. We need a 400-foot radius, so.
Yep. It was a good meeting. It was an
Good.
informative meeting and an interesting idea.
Do they have any time frame they'd like, I mean, they look for feedback, I know things take time, but did they have something?
Not really. I think they would,
They've got to do a lot of fundraising, so.
yeah, it involves the willingness of someone to do a matching opportunity for funds that could be raised through outside sources, up to a certain amount. And whatever the difference would be is what they would look to the town or CPC to contribute to purchase the property. And they were very open-minded about exploring pretty much multiple opportunities on what the land could be used, but with the caveat that it would be used for passive recreation, not for active recreation, which I know to some would be an issue. And as I say, we weren't there to judge or, other than to share with them some of the questions they're going to face. You were former on the, you were on the Recreation Commission,
Right.
so you have certainly know very well the need we have for
Fields,
fields. And anytime we look at a flat piece of land like that, I'm sure Mr. Terpster would wander on down there and envision at least 15 soccer fields,
Yes, be careful, that's his neighborhood too, and his
Yeah,
neighbors, so.
yeah.
It
So,
might be difficult, but yeah.
But it was an interesting concept. The matching component of it would be contingent on it being passive recreation, so you'd have to weigh that. But we'll see where it goes. It was a preliminary conversation. It's a well-intended group trying to do, the right thing, and in their eyes, what they think the land would be best suited for. And it's creative.
Did that come up also too, because the owners were getting anxious? I mean, they never seemed anxious to have to dispose
No.
of the property.
It's been for sale for a good
Ever,
10
right?
years that I can remember, maybe longer.
At least, yeah.
And the price hasn't moved. He's pretty entrenched in what he thinks it's worth, and I'm not going to judge
Yeah.
whether he's right or wrong.
A very well-educated consultant working, as part of this group that came and met with us today, who's got some experience from the states, working in the state through the APR process, the agricultural
Probably preservation, something.
preservation restrictions. He's got a lot of ideas on the fundraising, and also he's experienced with the process of working with the buyers and trying to get them a fair deal, and also educating them on other ways of getting the best benefit, whether there's tax write-offs or whatever other components might be outside of just a pure
Sale.
straight sale. So I think they've got the right, seems to me anyway, they've got the right person involved in there helping them. So it's, I think.
Yeah, he was a very easy gentleman to talk to.
Yeah.
He's and very, very knowledgeable in his field, and it was an informative meeting. I thought it was a good meeting.
Yeah. This is probably something that we can take a vote on at the next meeting, now that I've sat and thought about it some more. But I did want to share with you, we got the bid results for the joint salt bid that we do with Medfield every year. And I guess to cut to the chase, they came in $1 cheaper than they did last year on the primary vendor, and then $1.02 decrease on the alternate supplier. So
That's good.
Yeah.
I think, I don't think there's any reason why we can't go forward with that. We didn't have it on the agenda as a voting item, and it just came in either Friday or today or yesterday. And so we'll get that on the agenda for next time, but I'm sure you guys won't have any problems supporting that. So we'll let Medfield know that we're
We'll vote at next meeting.
moving forward, and yeah.
Okay.
That's all I have.
What I have can all wait until our next meeting.
Miss anything?
Mr. Garrity joins us.
All set?
Mr. Chairman,
No? Move to adjourn?
Jack, anything else?
Nope.
Marion, did we forget anything? Kind of a light night. Second.
All
Or I
those
will
in-
move to adjourn.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Good night, folks. Thank you for joining us.